Welcome. And then again, I'm doing the welcome thing like Optic Hex. I watched the Eavesdrop podcast way too much. Welcome everybody to your podcast about content creation, Motivated, with your host Rob. Today we have a very interesting topic that we discussed a few weeks ago. I'm actually recording this episode right after Moosey's, but we are scheduling it for later on down the week because it's not streamed live. So this might be episode 3 or 4. I'm not really sure yet. So excuse if the timeline is a little confusing. But today's guest is a very special one. So let's get right into it. And here we go. Today's guest is the very beautiful, talented, self-appointed, no, I'm joking, Warzone princess herself, Earth 2 Steph, my very, very, very good friend, which I've been lucky enough to witness create a career in this. As stated before, she is she's like the miracle child of this little community that I've been
I love looking at it that way.
I mean, it is kind of true.
Baby.
It is, yeah, it is kind of true. She is someone very, very talented, very entertaining, has a very amazing following that is always welcoming. Every time I pop in that chat, I always feel welcomed. I'm always happy to joke around with her and her chat, and it's always amazing to see her play and win some games and leave everybody in the dust. So I'm so salty.
We'll talk about that.
Yeah, a few days ago.
Oh, we don't have to talk about
it. A few days ago, I just got deleted by a throwing knife for hers, but yeah, we're not gonna talk about that into detail.
We don't have to. It's fine.
So, Steph, tell us a little bit about who you are.
So, Earth to Steph, Warzone princess, like you said. I've been streaming since February 2022. Super passionate about what I do, and I'm really excited to keep growing. It's just the beginning, honestly. We've done a lot so far, and yeah, I'm out here.
All right, okay, but let's get a little bit more into that detail. Let me go first then. Just I don't think you know much of actually.
Yeah.
Just that I'm one of the mods on one Twitch channels out there, but
everyone knows you.
And that I come around into chat, drop a joke, and then but I've been into the gaming world ever since 2000, or at least part of this community of like the Call of Duty.
Same.
Been around since 2009 when I got my first Xbox. Everybody was into the quick scoping craze back in the day. Then FaZe came around. Everybody was trying to grind for the little sniping clans and stuff. I managed to convince my dad to buy me an HD PVR. I don't know if you remember that.
It's ringing a bell.
HD PVR. So back in the day, you only had a few options capture cards because Elgato wasn't a thing.
Right.
So
without Elgato,
you had a Dazzle adapter, which only gave you like 360p quality, and then you had the HD PVR, which allowed you to be able, but it was a box this big that you would like. It was like a little console, yeah. And I grinded for clans and stuff, and then I disappeared. And came back into gaming later on. Competed in Overwatch, which is kind of like my core game. Even though it's horrible right now, I still play it from time to time, just to good old times, you know. Like it's
yeah.
It's like that addiction. You can't
let it go. Yeah,
exactly. And then built my computer again after the game kind of died down, and then I just rebuilt one after being around you and being around other friends that have inspired me to pick this back up again and take this a little bit more serious. So here we are. So Steph, how did you come across gaming? Have you always gamed? Is it recent, like the pandemic inspired?
Oh no, I've played games since I was a kid. So I'm the baby and the only girl. I have 3 older brothers. Growing up in the early 2000s, like all they did was play video games. Sega, Nintendo, PS or PlayStation, Xbox, literally everything you name it, I've tried it with them. And I still remember the first time I tried using a controller, and that shit was so confusing to me. Like as a little 6-year-old, you're like rolling all around. It made me dizzy. But I've been gaming basically my entire life. But my brothers are what got me into Call of Duty, and that's just the one that has
Right.
stuck with me, obviously, my whole life.
Yeah, because you've stuck through with Call of Duty through thick and thin. Most people that I follow from the Call of Duty
It's so
community
hard.
this year
Worth it.
has been hard, and a lot of people have just branched out into other things because understandably so. But you have
Oh
stuck
yeah.
with it through thick and thin, and well, I think it's paid off.
Yep, for sure. Yeah, my first one was Call of Duty World at War. I can't remember if I played that one online or not because that was literally ages ago. I
That
just
game was
remember
also
being,
like boring back in the
yeah,
day.
it kind of was, and I was just like, I was a kid too. But whatever. I've seen much worse things with 3 older brothers.
Oh my god. Well, yeah.
I just remember playing it online and being so nervous because I'm so shy. Well, not anymore, obviously, but I used to be so shy.
It's
And
a
I was
good
just like,
exercise.
everyone's gonna judge me.
Putting yourself out there is a good exercise because you just start ignoring things about yourself and just focus
Yeah,
on.
exactly.
So yeah, World at War, and then you moved on from there. And how about the content creation? How did that come across?
Oh, content creation, that literally just started when I started streaming. I've always wanted to be in that world. I just didn't know where. Like early 2015, like YouTube and makeup, like that was all really cool. Like I like makeup, as you can tell. But I never felt like I belonged there. Like that just wasn't my scene of people. And then Warzone came out and I discovered like this whole Twitch thing. I had no idea what it was, never watched it. I guess I had heard of it, but I never had any interest in it until I was into Warzone. And that was during the pandemic, obviously. That's where you could find basically anyone who played a video game was also watching Twitch or on Twitch. Um, and then I got really inspired by Bobby Poff. I'm sure we all know.
Yep.
I love. And I was like, holy he's so entertaining and so funny, and he's playing a video game. Like it's more obviously he's very good at the game, but it's so much more than just being really good at the game. Like I would never think about streaming because to me before then I had to be really good to stream.
True.
I was like, you know what? I can do this too. I'm funny. I can make funny content, so I might as well try it.
That has been the, how do I say it? For the viewers that don't know, English is not my first language, and I do have a hard time, even though it doesn't sound like it. I do have a hard time sometimes with words. I'm trying to find out the word. That has kind of been the staple of these conversations. Just like, hey, you don't know until you try it. The worst that can happen is nothing
100%.
happens. So so putting yourself out there is the utmost important thing for a creator, from what I've heard.
100%. And
Guests.
something I always had a conversation with Yim was like really low expectations. Like I'm not going in this to blow up or to make millions of dollars. Like I'm doing it because it's fun. I have a lot of fun doing it. You know what I mean?
So yeah, you went into it completely just for like, hey, I want to just put it out there, see where this leads.
Exactly.
Cool. Pretty cool. So I haven't really watched Bobby Puff. I'm not a Twitch. Like I
get that. 100%.
I don't like in my off. Like if I'm in my computer and my friends are streaming. Sorry. Well, I was gonna sneeze it, but then it went away. I don't sit around and just like put on a Twitch stream just because I'm like bored and that's not really me. Like unless it's a friend that is streaming, like I'll top him up, I'll be, I'll lurk around, pop in every now and then because it's friends, and I do believe in showing that little bit of support is important.
Oh, of course.
But realistically, I don't consume Twitch, not even back when like I've had my account since it was just in TV.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I've been around it, but I've never really like watched. So it was never an interest of mine until recently. Like back in the day when we were competing in Overwatch, I would stream the scrims just so I could have the VOD recorded. But it
never did.
Yeah, it never went further than that. And then as of recent, it kind of clicked the same for me. Like, hey, look, maybe this is something I could get started with because I'm not particularly good at the game, but maybe I'm entertaining for some. successful. And
You have a group of people that would be there to watch you.
yeah, and then again, I'm not talking out of experience. I'm not giving any tips to anyone. I have like what I have like 5 videos on TikTok, and they have a couple hundred views. That's it. You know, like I'm starting as well, which is what, you know, this kind of leads me on to why I started this. Is more like because, hey, look, I befriended a lot of these people that are successful doing this and have managed. And I think that this is something that is accessible at this moment in time. It's accessible to anyone.
Right.
And I'm a very firm believer that this has to start as a passion thing first.
1000%.
And then
Yes.
it has the opportunity to move into a business.
Yes.
But you cannot rule out the fact that you could make something out. And I think it's more accessible than ever because there are so many tools that allow you to do so. And it's a lot easier than having a business in real life, in which, like, for example, in my case, photography, I have to compete with clients. Even though I have my community of other photographer friends, I have to compete with them over, like, not really compete with them, but like the client that's gonna hire me is probably not gonna
Right.
hire
Over
them.
them. Right.
In this case, it's completely different because most things are ad based, like most of the revenue, and it just takes a click from someone to be able to provide you something. So I do think this is something that is achievable for everyone that really puts in the work, you know. But it does have to start as a passion because it's not immediate. Like, you're not gonna turn on stream and have 100 viewers tomorrow, and then in a week you're gonna have 20,000 viewers, and you're not gonna have like that. I've always put it down the Ninja example because I think a lot of people forget that he was doing the streaming thing with Halo. He used to be a Halo competitor back in the day. Then he moved on to H1Z1, and then he finally blew up with the rise of Fortnite late 2018 or around 2018. So, and same thing, same thing with well, you're not on Kick because you recently got partners. So I'm guessing you're taking all your focus
Still
on
there, but yeah.
yeah. Your focus is on Twitch because, you know,
Right.
it's been the platform that's been.
But shout out to those who go and get that bag.
What I was
100%.
gonna say is
I am happy for you.
In the Moosey episode, he was talking about Lucci TV. He was talking about how he was one of the first ones that risked posting his content on. You're good. Don't worry about it. I can't hear you now though.
Oh.
Okay, no, I can hear you now. Okay, cool. Lucci TV started kind of like the wave of game coming in TikTok after it was renamed from Musical.ly.
Wow.
Right, you remember Music? Yeah, you remember Musical.ly?
I do, like where
like
people
the
were like
dances?
singing and yeah.
Yeah. And then that's how TikTok was born. It was just a rename. Like, it's always been there. And then from there, everybody saw the opportunity and jumped into the wave. And and now, like, that was 2017, maybe late 2017 when the change happened from the app.
I think so. Yeah, that sounds right.
And back then it was only like, I don't know, 15-year-old little ladies posting little dances like on Musical.ly. Yeah, like, because it wasn't the big thing it was now. And then he was ahead of the game, and then he's a successful content creator at this point, and he was. But now that he's on like the eyes of everyone, I follow Lucci on, and his streams have like 200 something. And now that he's been doing the first class thing that really blew him up, he not only has a contract secured from a platform that is paying him a stable income for our stream, he also has the income from his subs, and he's tripled his viewership in a matter of like 2 days. Because I just went into Kick today, and he was almost at 2,000 views. Like,
damn.
But this guy hasn't been doing this for like doing it for a long. Been experimenting for.
He found the thing that works for him.
Yeah, he did. He did. And I think that's pretty cool, and I think that's what we all want to achieve. That's what we're going to talk about today. But focus on you, right? So, welcome in, Steph, once again. Let's go over that career overview. So you said you've been creating content. Well, sorry, I said earlier you've been creating content for a little over a year. So,
yeah, about a year and a half.
Okay. So how how did it all start? Like, I know I asked how did it start, like how it started earlier on, but just tell me like what was that day that you decided like let me just set up a Twitch account, go live? What
So
happened?
that, I mean, it's a lot of things. I had a job that I hated very, very much. I was miserable. I was sick every night. I was crying every night. It was horrible. So I quit. I just quit. And I was at that company for almost 8 years. And I was seniored into a pension that I had for 8 years. So keep that in mind. But in my free time while I was looking for another job, I got really into Warzone because I'm a gamer. What else was I gonna do other than look for other jobs? And as I was watching other streamers like Bobby Poff, I got really inspired to try to get better. And Yim saw that. And he's like, you should just start streaming. And I
Shout
was
out to
like, well,
Jim. Shout out to
I
Jim for
know,
making
I
it
know.
happen. Big
And
shout
I
out
was
to
like, oh, no, like I wasn't that confident in myself. And then um comes Christmas, which is like 3 months after that. I get that little sign that's behind, not little, big sign that says Earth to Steph.
yeah.
And a bunch of these, I know nothing about PCs or anything, but a bunch of these little like pieces to build a PC. And he's like, we're going to do it. We're just going to send it. And I was like, let's go. So we just scheduled a day and he was like, I think the best idea would be, let everyone know a month ahead of time that like all your friends, all your family, post it on your social media. You're going to be streaming on this day and you're going to do a 12-hour stream. And I was like, oh my, that sounded so, even to stream for 1 second sounded so scary to me because I've never put myself in that position before. But we just did it and it worked out.
It worked out. That's fun. I remember, I don't know if it still happens. I haven't seen her in a while, but I remember when you starting, you even had your mom like very active on the chat all the
She's
time.
still, oh God,
Like,
she's famous in my chat.
oh,
Everyone freaks
100%,
out.
100%. Earth to mom. Yeah, no. But let's just give a little bit of context. Who is Yim?
So Yim is my husband. We've been together for, God, it's been so long now, 13 years.
Oh my God. Yeah, it's been
I know.
been a minute.
It's been a fucking minute. Yeah, 13 years. Literally #1 supporter. The reason this even exists is because of him. Like what it looks like aesthetically, like how it runs, everything. I am clueless to these things. I can turn it on and I can turn it off. If something goes wrong,
I guess
I need him here.
Yeah, I guess that's a part of the formula for success too. Like having that support, not only
I'm
of like
so insanely blessed.
not only of like your partner, because also these big financials come with like baggage with them. And
right.
and
that's another reason I was able to quit my job.
Right. And but not only that is also like just having someone that said, hey, like you're a yes man, like, hey, you know what, we're going to do this. And then all of a sudden you have all of these things and it's so overwhelming, and then he's like, we're still going to do this and I'm going to sit with you through it. So
and he's also like the no man, like telling me things that I need to hear, things that I need to change.
that is, I think that is also very much as much as luck comes into play with like finding like a break in this, also comes into like finding someone that is able to guide you, even though they
absolutely,
I don't know, like even though they're not like a mentor per se, but being able to walk
a partner
journey with you.
Yeah,
a partner, yeah, correct. So I think that's pretty right. So that's how Earth to Steph was born. That is pretty cool. How did you come with the name? Come up with the name?
Oh my God, I've had Earth to Steph as my name on all socials since I was in like 7th or 8th grade.
Okay.
I remember this. You know a day to remember. The lead singer, what's his name? Jeremy?
I'm a fan of the band. I'm not a groupie of the people.
Back in those days when they were like super, super big, it was like 2009 era. He had a girlfriend and her name was Earth to Carry. And I was like, that's so sick. So I copied it.
Hey, you know
and
what?
now it's Earth to Steph.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Well, yeah, no, that's interesting. I've had many. I don't know. I don't remember how I came up with. Hold on one moment. All right. I don't remember how I came up with mine, but I think it's pretty cool and it's pretty catchy too. Because at
For
the
sure.
beginning, you have so many opportunities within it, like very spacey vibes. And I remember, I don't know if you've changed your merch, but the merch at the beginning also was very like
Yeah.
spacey vibes, like and it's,
Right.
I think it also comes with the opportunity to have some branding around it.
1000%.
Let's see here. All right. So Call of Duty has always been the game, or do you have any other interests in game?
Honestly, yeah. I mean, I feel like I personally have ADHD. I've never gone to the doctor for it, but
Same.
playing like
Same.
yeah, right.
Self-diagnosed,
As do
100%.
most people.
Yeah.
But Call of Duty is what keeps it keeps my attention for hours and hours and hours. Other games, like I've played Phasmophobia, Red Dead, Grand Theft Auto. Actually, I love Grand Theft Auto.
Interesting.
But I just get bored, I guess, at one point, and Call of Duty has never done that for me.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it keeps you on your toes. Like,
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
always
It gets me angry. It gets
it's
me
the
happy.
same map,
It's
but
everything.
it doesn't. The same map, but it doesn't. The gameplay changes enough for you
Right.
to keep interested. I just activated my voice to text on my phone, and my notes are destroyed. Oh my god. Okay, I got it. Okay, that's pretty cool. GTA. You know what's funny? I don't
San Andreas specifically.
I don't enjoy playing Grand Theft Auto.
So as of now, I'm not a Grand Theft Auto girly pop, but back in the day, San Andreas played that thing nonstop.
I didn't have a PlayStation 2 back then. So I was a Wii, like a game.
Oh, Wii kid.
And then I had an Xbox, but I never had a Grand Theft Auto game. I did have a PSP. Did have like Vice City Stories. And that's what I played, but it was like I beat the camp, like the main, and that was it. And then when GTA 5 came out, I bought it for PC, and I didn't even. I don't know. It's not my type of game. Kind of interesting because everybody
it's not
loves
for everyone.
it. Yeah, everybody loves it. There's just so much to do, but
it's kind of overwhelming. Yeah.
Bit.
That's why I understand like the role play part. You have like a routine. That's what I would need. I would need something to do, but outside of that, I would be lost.
You know what? I thought bringing this up. Maybe when you decide to branch out, if you decide to branch out.
Oh, I definitely want to eventually.
Like a role play, I think.
I think so too.
Having some friends. That's the thing. You need to have friends in the server you're gonna RP on, and you
so
have
I've been
you have to
told.
Running with them, you'll meet other people, and then that's kind of how you thing. I think those are interesting. They're very comedic for sure. The things I see on TikTok are interesting, at least.
Oh, 100%. I just don't feel like I would be like, because I feel like you have to be on it.
True.
For the next like funny thing or like surprising thing, but I guess I do that in CODs. I don't know.
And I think it also goes a little bit into that you used to be very shy. So like I think how I am very shy. People might not think that because I just go into those chats and say dumb stuff all the time back out, but I am actually very shy. I'm actually terrified of meeting people in person.
I get that.
Even though like I'm a photographer,
makes my heart race just thinking
I reach out to people to take photos with, or I have clients that I don't know. Just like social events are not, like crowded spaces are not. So I get how terrifying it could be to just like jump into GTA and everything just kind of is taken so serious in our. Because you have to be in character all the time, so it's like I just feel like my anxiety.
Me in character all the time? You're asking for a lot.
Yeah. All right, so let's get into the depth of it here. Let's go over actual topics. Steph, I know mainly your career and your success has been through Twitch and through streaming. But eventually, to make this more of something like that's something that can have longevity. Content creation comes to a part of it. A lot of people have this discussion about like, are streamers content creators if you just stream, or is there something behind it? Like, so do you do content, you do posts out there on different platforms. how have you approached content creation? Did you start when you started streaming in order to grow, or did you pick it up like after you had the first little seeds of your community?
So luckily, again with Yim, he told me off the rip because he was more in the Twitch scene a little bit longer than I was. So he was more familiar with these types of things, and he told me like off the rip, you have to make content, you have to post other places. So we did a lot of research, and it might have been before my first stream. I just started recording. I wasn't actually streaming. I was already posting content on TikTok.
That's so cool.
It's so important to do. Just to try to bring as many people from, because discoverability on Twitch it's very hard.
It's horrible. Really bad.
It's horrible, honestly.
It is. It is. What's the term I'm looking for? It's diminishing. If you just stream, there's no one's gonna find you ever.
And streaming, I've said this to so many people in my community. Streaming is so much more than hitting go live. Like if you just hit go live and that's all you do for hours a day, it unfortunately really won't grow like you want it to. You have to try to bring people from all sorts of other platforms to you, and then you need to try to find a way to keep them there.
100%. And yeah, you know what? I'm gonna bring this back from the previous episode. We were talking about how, I don't know what video it was, but I was talking. It was Mr. Beast talking about how our attention span has been completely ruined by these short form content platforms.
Dude, it's terrible.
How you like, he was saying, hey, if you're start out with 10-second clip. Don't even go farther than that. And then you have 3 seconds to catch someone's attention with a title or a good play or something. And in 10 seconds, that's how long most attention span lasts, and they have enough time to see your whole thing and then move on to the next thing. So and I feel like that after they're engaged with several 10-second videos and they get into your stream, they get to be able to know you, they get to be able to be familiar with who you are, what you do, and you have the opportunity of, when you're small and you have someone new that comes from other platforms, you have the opportunity to engage a little bit more, in a more personal level with them, and actually have the opportunity or take advantage of building a community with that person that came out of nowhere. So I think that's an opportunity that a lot of creators overlook on a stream.
Unfortunately,
it's like, hey, it's all about community. Because if you don't have a community, if you just have, I don't know, if you play with Drake tomorrow, you're gonna have viewers. You're gonna have viewers because it's Drake.
So different than.
But it's gonna go away the second he's up, because you haven't had the chance to engage on a personal level.
They're only there because he was there.
Exactly.
Or they weren't there for you.
Exactly. So these little steps are important. Like I'm sorry, but the fame out of nowhere doesn't. Like it just really and if it exists, it doesn't stick. Because then again, things change, and this is a very a landscape that keeps on changing every year. 2 years ago, everybody thought esports was the creme of the crop in business, and now we're in I think esports is a stable industry, and it will continue to be a stable industry, but it is not what a lot of people that were not a part of this community thought. And I always go back to this: if you guys are into esports and content creation, you need to follow the Godfather, which is Optic Hex. If you do not watch his content and you do not watch his advice, you're not gonna understand how the COD scene works. That guy is a legend for very smart. He is the wisest, like in my eyes, he is the wisest man when it comes to this scene. The way he manages his team, even though what happened with Optic and Infinite a few years back, and they had to, they sold the company and he recently acquired it back. Even after that, I think he has a lot to provide to a lot of viewers, and it's like, hey, look, keep things small, keep phase content first, and that is the golden egg of this content. Because as TV ads were a few years back, and like you guys know, I'm not from the US, but you guys know how much money and a 30-second ad costs in the Super Bowl.
Oh,
30, not even 30 second, like 10 15-second ad and costs in the Super Bowl. And that is, I'm sorry, but there is consistently that amount of viewership for gaming every single.
Right.
And ads are gonna start moving away from they're gonna start moving away from TV or traditional media. It's gonna start coming back to the internet.
I can't remember the last time I watched actual television.
Yeah, I don't even own I don't even own a television. So it's like, and if I own a television, it's just to plug in my laptop and play a movie
Right.
or something. So it's like, hey, look, this industry is gonna keep growing. People say that we're in a tough spot right now because there was a lot of overhiring the pandemic, but that is
Right.
the tech world overall. And it's gonna stabilize, and once it's stabilized, it's gonna keep on growing.
Yep.
So I think it's important for people to also
I think we're
understand.
still in the super early stages of the gaming world too. As much as it's been around forever and you think like you're late to the game in Twitch, like I truly wholeheartedly
no,
believe it's still in the really early stages.
That is the point of all of this. I want people to understand that this is something, because I am trying to convince myself as well. I don't know if I said it earlier, but the whole reason I did this is because I want to do it. And I thought the best way, instead of going to YouTube and searching thousands of videos on how to do little things, it's like, hey, I've spent the last year and a half talking to people, befriending these people, making jokes with these people. I'm sure I can reach out to them and ask them questions.
Right.
And then also came thought like, hey, what about I can put this out for content that might be helpful for other people that are in the same shoes that I am. Because let's be real, how many people in your community also create content? The people you play with constantly are also like, on that journey
100%.
and have been on that journey with you. And the same thing happens with, well, back then, Nikari, I used to play a lot with Jazzberry. That's also in this growing journey. Most of my friends that I play with on a daily basis are also on this journey, and we go live at the same time, and we all, like talk about our TikTok videos and like promote each other, because we're all trying to grow. But what best way to learn from people that have walked this walk?
I think
go ahead.
one of the biggest things I've noticed as far as with luck and something that I try to make sure I do my very best at, is, and this is a tough situation. So this is why I brought up like my whole pension that I had with my old, I was able to get really nice things. So I was lucky in that sense because I used that lump sum of money to get the camera that I have and the PC that I have.
Yeah, I smacked my mic. Sorry.
But I think that's what catches people's eyes is like, oh, I really like her lights, or I really like the events overlay that she has, or the camera that she's using. For instance, like I was rated, one Nikari found me just randomly, right? Like I wonder why she clicked my stream. And then not long after that, but a little bit after that, Alex Zedra rated me.
Yeah, I remember. It was cool. Like the same week.
That was honestly freaking insane.
I remember.
And it's like, okay, well, what caught her eye in my, to find her in my stream? And then Nadia rated me, like at her peak too. Like when Nadia was
she was like 30K
Nadia,
viewers.
you know what I mean? So I shit my pants there when that happened. But it's like, yes, that is a lot of luck that they were all, but like what Nate Shot rated me once with
Nate. Oh, wow.
Yeah,
really?
1 million freaking people. Yeah.
Oh,
it's like, why are they clicking my stream? So I try to take that into accountability. I think people like what they're looking at too, even if it's just a little light in the background. That's just me thinking about it. To get them to at least click into my stream. But it's also like with raids, you can't, like that moment is very exciting. Are all of those people going to be there the next day? No, they're not going to be. So how are you going to keep at least one of them, honestly, because that one person, if that keeps happening every single day, it adds up. And with Nadia's stream, somebody named Bluebird TTB came with that stream, and it was over 1,000, or came with that raid. It was over 1,000 people. Blue, that's what I call her now, has been there every single day since. It's been, I think it's almost a year. Every single day, she is there within seconds of me going live. I literally hit go live, she's already in there. She is there when I'm ending my stream. Like, it is so cool to see.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like for you, for example, like you've been around since Nikari rated me, and that's really cool because I've rated 1 million people. Do I always go back to their stream? No. So I'm happy I got to like keep that and grow it into some sort of friendship. You know what I mean?
That is very, very cool. And I don't know. I'm guessing there is no perfect formula because
There really isn't, honestly.
yes. Well, you do have a very interesting background, and I wanted to talk about that later on. But I want to talk about it more towards the end.
Okay.
Okay, off topic. But you also have people like XQC that have garbage in the background, and it's just
That
sitting on
is
the
actually
plain
true.
white
That is
wall.
actually true.
And
That might be his, like, that's also interesting. Why the hell is he streaming like that? Let me go
oh
watch.
my
And then you
bro,
watch and you're like, oh, okay, this makes
listen,
sense.
I am not perfect. My room is by no means like shiny, and like, but it's just insane to me whenever like I follow this guy Linus Tech Tips that does computer stuff.
Hmm.
It's a big YouTube, 12 million subscribers, and he recently flew out to XQC's home in I think Texas, because his PC had something, or the PC they sent him had something, or something like
Yeah.
that. And when they got to the room, it was just insane to see. I was
And he
like,
doesn't give
he
a
doesn't
fuck
care.
at
He
all.
doesn't care. And there's a lot
But
a
that's
lot
why
of
you love him. Like,
I think but I think that would be a very interesting thing to investigate, like, or maybe like have some self-reflection on, like, hey, what do I have to offer to these people that are staying on my screen for 30 seconds? I came from.
right.
How can I get the one? How can I
Exactly.
make that guy's day so much better that they come next day?
Right.
And understanding that is also like getting rated by these big streamers doesn't mean success, or doesn't
No.
mean that they're gonna be the next day, or that you're even gonna become friends with this other
It
person.
gave you an opportunity, and you have
Right,
to do something with that
right,
opportunity.
right. So I think that is pretty cool. But I think the background does come into play. Having something to look at, like having little details that catches people's eyes, and they can be like, hey, maybe this person is kind of trying to take this serious, and maybe they're like, look,
Right.
while I'm looking at the background, I'm like, hey, I see you have an incredible Tanjiro statue back there, and the
Yep.
Pepe
I have
and the
Rengoku's
Ghost. Yeah,
katana. Everybody asks about that. People ask about my headset all
yeah.
the time.
I
Just like
remember.
tiny little details.
And these tiny details are going to catch your eyes for at least
Mhm.
20 30 seconds, and then maybe from there you can crack a joke that might interest a stream.
100%.
That is very
That's been
interesting.
my little formula, at least. Is
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
I never thought about that. I got a rate last night of 150 people,
Ooh, let's go.
and my OBS completely shit the bed and crashed.
Are you freaking
Yeah,
serious?
and it's funny
Oh
because you
god,
also rated me
technology.
once with like
Oh
100.
god, TBT.
You rated me with like 130 viewers, I remember, something like that. And
Mhm.
then and I don't remember. Oh, and I rated out someone
Literally
the second
immediately.
the
And I
second
had you tabbed because I was like, I'm gonna raid him. So then I look, I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
he's still on. I go to raid, gone.
And I've had I've had very lucky rates, but I've also had very, like, I haven't had the chance to kind of see like what works and what doesn't work. So I think it's interesting to sure, it's fun when it happens, but learn to not depend on it. Like,
Oh,
learning
absolutely.
that this is not going to be the main influx of traffic to you.
Hmm. You have to do that yourself.
So, main topic for this podcast, let's go towards the title. It's called Unmotivated. I don't even know if that's a word in but
is.
it would mean lack of motivation, right?
Right.
Throughout this year and a half, working for most of it a full-time job, in a very, I'm guessing, I don't know how competitive or like how difficult the finance system is, a bit. How have you had any moments where you felt like, hey, maybe this is not, or like, hey, maybe, like, the self-doubt kicks in, the imposter syndrome?
Self-doubt for sure. Not necessarily that like, oh, I shouldn't be doing this or I should give up, but it's really easy in this industry to compare yourself to other people, which you shouldn't do, but also you should take notes from them, right? I'm not saying,
Right, yeah, learn the good things.
exactly. And also like with numbers, So myself personally, I know a lot of other creators do this too. I think Nikari gave me the idea and
She hides
was
her viewership. She never
one.
has the viewership. Yeah.
Yes, that's what I was gonna say. I don't look at that. Like, do I care about it? Yes, but I cannot see it when I'm streaming.
Yeah, yeah.
Because you have a certain number in your head, and I don't know what that number is until I start streaming. But it's usually never the one that I want to see.
Yeah.
So I hide that all the time. So it's really easy to let those numbers get to you and to become unmotivated, right?
Yeah.
You just have to be confident in yourself, and it is really hard to do that, to stay in that mental state and to keep pushing through it. It is, and that's where the passion comes in. Because I love what I do at the end of the day. If I had 10 people watching me, like, I'm so thankful that those 10 people are there to watch me, because like I said earlier, I try to envision those 10 people in a room. That's a lot of people watching.
It is.
Okay?
Yeah, 10 people is way more than I
choosing
would.
to spend their free time with me.
Yeah,
Like, that's what motivates me.
10 people is more people that I invited to my birthday party this year. So yeah, it is.
Exactly.
It is a lot of people.
Same.
It is
Same.
a lot of people. You know what? I'm keeping that for myself though. Envision these people in a room together.
Right.
I think that is a very
Choosing to spend it with you.
Yeah, and I think that's a very interesting like input, right? Of like able to understand that viewership, like low viewership doesn't mean like it's not a, how do I say this? It's not a metric for measuring success.
Right.
Sure, there are metrics and the platforms that are related to it, but it doesn't mean that you can't be successful.
Absolutely.
But okay, so not really any moments in like the content creation journey that you've been like kind of shaken by like, hey, look, I'm a very anxious person. Every like once a year, I'll have a manic episode in which I'll drop everything and disappear for the face of. Hopefully, fingers crossed, this is the first year that doesn't happen. I've worked very hard to kind of keep a system that keeps me focused on something. It doesn't matter what it is. It focus on something. It's kind of what I'm doing with this right now. I don't want to burn myself out. This would be the second episode I record this week. There is a third one. So as I explained before, this episode is actually going to be number 3, because there's going to be someone for you, even though I'm going to record it later on, but because we're going to do that one live.
Okay.
So that's why it's just like there.
Right.
So yours would be coming not the next week, but the week after. That is, I think, the first week of September. I might be wrong. No. So I plan to release this on August the 30th. So I'm trying to do all releases.
Perfect.
Yeah, I'm trying to do all releases on Wednesdays. So like midnight Eastern time, it should be up already. So that's gonna be Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And I'm actually doing. I wanted to get into this. I'm actually doing a very good friend of yours that I think you guys look amazing together. She's coming up this Saturday. That's gonna be Miss T, which is my favorite human being.
I love T so. Dude, T is one of the greatest people I've ever met in this industry. Honestly,
I agree. I think T is a very
just protect her at all costs.
So the focus for this podcast is trying to get full-time content creators to talk about their experience coming up. But I think T is a very special case because despite her not doing it full-time, she has been doing this for like 6 years and she might not do it full-time, but she still does it. She still has an amount of success that I think is comparable to the guests I've had.
Absolutely.
In the podcast. And I think
I've told her before, she's one of the people that I looked up to and took notes from.
Right.
100%.
And then she is not only, what I find more interesting about T is that she is also growing into other types of content. Not only she has IRL content from her travels when she went to Caught Next, but she also does the gym thing, which is very interesting to me, particularly because I have not been to the gym in like 2 weeks because I'm kind of going through a thing. But it is interesting to me because it provides like a duality into her content. She now not only has to worry about the gaming side and posting on TikTok for her gaming clips or her gaming videos, because she also does YouTube. I don't know if you do YouTube actually.
I do.
But it's still in the
YouTube
baby
is so
steps.
scary to me. Yeah,
It
it's
is.
very, very much
It
baby
is.
steps. And it's with this COD specifically, very hard to make YouTube content on.
Yeah, it's this.
And I'm my own worst enemy with that stuff. Like if I don't feel like that's like a perfect video, I don't want it. Like I'm not
Right.
just gonna post something.
Well, you should perhaps watch the last episode, because Ooze actually talks about it, and it's like, hey, look, maybe just post it if it's bad. Like even if it's not,
I know,
just
I
post
know.
it. Just like the worst that can
I need
happen is
to.
no one watches it,
Right.
and then in the future you can look back at it and it's like, huh, I was afraid of posting that. Look where I'm at.
Right.
So it's like it comes back. It just comes back in a circle. All right, and okay. Lastly, well, not lastly, but into this like progression of your career so far. How did the decision to go full time, like how did that come in?
I mean, it was always a risk, right? Like going full time,
Always
leaving
is.
your super stable job. Like I was in banking. My job was not going anywhere. I was a top performer. Like I was very comfortable. I loved my job. I worked at Amex. It was work from home permanently. The
God.
easiest freaking job I've ever had. It paid well. Like I loved my job. However, doing that and streaming essentially full time, because I was still doing like 5 to 6 hour streams immediately after work every single day, was so exhausting. I was a zombie. Waking up at 6 in the morning and then going to bed at like 1 in the morning
Yeah.
was horrible for my mental state.
Oh,
Um,
talk to me about it.
so yeah, right. I had a peak in my streaming career. It was right after I had my subathon. I got in that one subathon 24-hour stream, I got 2,000 subs, and then the next week I got another 1,000 subs, and then the next week I got another 1,000 subs. It was one thing after another, and it's stuff that I never thought would happen. But that wasn't enough for me to be like, okay, I'm gonna quit my job.
Yeah,
You know
I
what
don't think
mean?
3 months is enough.
No.
Three
So we
good
just
months.
we sat on it for a little bit. We made a few like financial decisions. Of course, like I said, I have my husband who has a stable job, we can fall back on. So I'm very blessed in that situation. I'm not completely just depending on myself. But I still like to contribute, obviously. So there's no stress there. But we were able, with that income rather, to pay off our cars. So we don't have those bills anymore. That's really nice. Like you just have to plan these types of things. We were just thinking long term, and I think I waited about 3 months, and it was still as consistent, and it still is to this day, sub count wise. So I was like, you know what? Let me just try it. Might as well. And it's worked out. And like you mentioned earlier, there's been some partnerships I can't talk about yet. I will be able to talk about soon. That I have been working so hard and so long for, and it felt like the day would never come. I knew it would, but it's finally all falling into place. Honestly, the only two I've been dreaming and thinking about for the past year.
I know exactly.
Happened this week.
I know exactly what you're gonna say, Anna. So I hope I'm
You'll
right.
hear about it soon.
I hope I'm right.
I'm sure you are. It literally happened this week within days of each other, both of them. And I was like,
that is
one of them, I got the email while I was streaming and I screamed so loud. So I had to end my stream. I was so excited. I was on for like 2 hours. I was like, I gotta go. I can't do this anymore.
that is so, I'm so happy to hear that.
I want to think like going full time, taking that risk is what got me to get to that point. Because was I making my best content and putting up my best streams when I was working full time?
If you have no time, or if you're exhausted all the time,
it's tired.
It is.
Because I'll watch some of those streams and I'm like, you are so loud now. Like, when did you get so loud?
Right. You're so much more comfortable with it too. Like I go into your stream and you're just like sitting on kids' faces in game and screaming and talking to chat at the same time. I'm like, how did this happen? Like this happened overnight. It's like it was so
It really
quick.
did.
And this being comfortable on camera is not easy.
No, it is not.
I chose to be a photographer because I want to be behind the camera. and
There you go.
and putting myself out there, in putting my face on a, despite it only having a very small viewership, has been very nerve-wracking because I am self-conscious about the way I look. I am self-conscious about the little things that I know people that are watching don't notice, but I notice. So not only that, then again, same thing with speaking. It's like I am comfortable speaking English. I probably speak it better than Spanish at this point, but sometimes I do get tongue-tied and I stop saying words, and that I get like a little mini anxiety attack whenever that happens, because it's like I've been watching my first the pilot for this podcast, and I'm like, is when do I have a stutter? And it's like people probably don't notice, but I can
tell
like
you
that,
I
right?
haven't noticed.
Yeah, little things like that, and it's like, hey, look, this is
Just
all,
know
it's an exercise.
Everyone has that.
Yeah,
about
yeah,
themselves.
and at this point, I think I'm a lot more. This episode has been so easy because I'm very comfortable, because we've been friends for so long, and I think that, you know, like, we met and the next day we were already making jokes about like the Shrek stuff that I used to say on Instagram. I'm so happy I'm over that phase. I'm so happy we're I think you're also over that phase, because I do remember
I was never in the phase. I was
I'm not. I'm just saying you did dress up as the damn thing. So
yeah, that's true. Content, okay?
And that I'm gonna say it right now. That was horrifying. But that's pretty cool. Okay, so well, you kind of started into our next topic, and we're gonna talk about the future. I think by the time this episode is released, you can already talk about what you have planned. But however, I am not gonna say so. Despite this coming out in the future date, do you have any other future goals? Anything you want to next? Maybe like branch out into games. Maybe like have a certain goal that you want in the following months.
I do want to branch out into other games, that's for sure. Every time I want to like dip my toes into another game, Warzone does something that keeps my attention.
I swear to God, they have the horrible. It's like, I'm gonna quit this damn game.
Terrible timing, and then it's like, well, there's superpowers. Well, there's the new season. Added movement. Like,
against all odds and all comments, I love this. Like, despite how infuriating was dying, it was like, I
love
hated
having
dying.
The powers. Yeah. Don't do it to me though.
Yeah, exactly. that was very fun. I've had a love-hate relationship. Especially because like Rank came out, everybody was excited. I tried it, my computer ran at like 30 frames, and I'm like, yeah, I don't want to play. But a little demotivating. But yeah, no. Okay, so branching into other games, I would love to see a scary game night stuff.
I've done them, I think, like a handful of times, maybe 3 or 4 times. So the thing with scary games and me is, like I said, ADHD. My brain can only do so much. If that most scary games are like problem solving, it's a puzzle, it's this or that. And I am a streamer who is very focused on chat. Yeah. Like, that is my priority. If I'm reading chat and I'm playing that game, I don't know what's happening in this game. Like, I have no idea. I look and feel so dumb because I'm also trying to have a conversation with everybody chatting with me. Right. So it's so stressful. I wish, like, I'll watch Nakari and I'm like, girl,
what games have you played? Because you maybe try to focus on like simpler, like more linear, like, you know, like the type of game that, like, you know, the jump scare is coming and you just have to press W to get to the jump scare. Right. Like, something more simple. Like, you know,
I can do some research on it. I know.
I mean, hear me out. I'm trying to make this happen, man.
Stresses me out just thinking about it.
I'm trying to soldier up for the Poppy Playtime. I don't know if
I haven't tried that one.
Poppy's Playtime, the part 1 is like 15-20 minutes long. It's incredibly nerve-wracking because it's like jump scare after jump scare. There is like 2-3 puzzles, but when you're actually doing the puzzles, like, you can just take your time kind of, and then like read that. And then when the moments, like, you're gonna hear the music get crazy, and that's like when the stuff goes down. So and then there's also apps that can have like your chat on your gaming screen as an overlay.
Ooh, that's a good idea.
And then you can just like read it from there and just be focused on the game at the same time. So that might be, you know, I'm trying to make it happen. I'm trying to make it happen because I think now, because you said it yourself, now that you are more comfortable on camera, you are also more louder and louder and
A
scary
lot
games.
louder.
Louder and
Yeah.
scary games go very well together.
If you watch my stream, I'm not even joking. 5 months ago, I'm a different person.
You can
I'm
tell.
so quiet. I never knew that about myself. And that's also something else I recommend people doing is watch your VODs back. Always watch. I know it's cringy and I know it's terrible and it makes you sick to your stomach. Like, trust, I feel that. But I just literally just last week I watched a VOD of mine and I was like, what the fuck? Like, I was mad at myself for missing something and it made me upset.
Right.
But backtracking, yeah, I am a completely different streamer than I was 5 months ago. It's actually crazy.
It's crazy. It's crazy because you're definitely an outlier. Like, it doesn't, the success you've gained in the past year and a half is not something a lot of people can. But I think you are proof that with a good enough system, dedication, it's something
Can make it happen.
Yeah, because I think everybody has something to offer. Like,
Oh,
everybody
absolutely, 100%. As long as you're passionate, 1,000 someone will see that.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're almost at an hour, which is the threshold I don't want to cross yet, because then again, we're a new podcast. I think an hour is very heavy on kind of like a specific topic. So just give us, top of your head, 3 tips and tricks that have been a part of your success that might help other individuals. You don't have to go into them, just like maybe like, hey, just give me 3 things.
Try to make someone's day in your chat. I try to do that with everyone individually. Always post content. Don't just hit go live. Have a plan with your stream that you did that day. What is something that you, at least one clip?
This is something I have learned to have by my side at all times. Is
Yes.
Plan things
Write
out.
the time down.
Plan
it out. Yes.
Yeah. I've learned a lot. Yeah.
And just be passionate. Find something something that motivates you to look up to.
Cool.
I have so many people. So.
Cool. All right, guys, you guys heard it here first. The recipe for success from Earth to Steph is definitely being consistent, posting your content, make someone's day. You know, if you can make that one person's day better, they'll stick around, and you know, keep doing it. Keep going at it. Don't give up. It's something achievable. It's something that she's done and many other people have done, and I think us up and coming eventually reach that. Just remember, it's all about the passion. It's never about the money.
1000%.
It will come in time. It could come in time, but there's a lot of work in. So,
Exactly.
Steph, thank you so much for being a part of this. I love you immensely for doing this with me, because this has been, as I said before we were recording, this has been kind of like a dream of mine to have something like this, being a host, being able to do with my voice, and I think a lot of people might topic. So
thank you for having me. This was so much fun. Fun.
We can find Steph in the links that are going to be in the description for this episode. It's also going to be on Apple Podcasts and Spotify in video form, and Spotify and YouTube, and then just the audio on Apple Podcasts. She's going to send me all her links to all his stuff. I'm going to plug everything below. If you do not know Steph, please give her a minute.
You better.
You know, give her 60 seconds of your time. I promise you, you're either going to have ruptured eardrums or you're going to love her forever. So, with that said, Steph, very much. Have a blessed, beautiful day. I'm going to go ahead and this out, and bye.
Bye.